One. Okay, hi everybody. On the show today, I have here Arvid. If you don't know Arvid has wrote The Entrepreneur and Zero to Soul. They're both books I really love, and I'm sure you've heard of them already. If you're not, I'll put a link in the description to them. But he also built Feedback Panda, a SaaS for education English teachers, I believe. And I'm just excited to talk with him today. So thanks for joining me, Arvid. How are you doing today?
Absolutely. Thanks so much for having me. I'm very excited to chat with you today.
I think the feeling is mutual. I'm really excited. I've seen lots of things. Oh, there you go. Yep. So I just want to quickly say about zero reduce my mic volume. Sorry. I just quickly want to say before we start that it's really a pleasure to talk with you because I've been reading your tweets a lot, talking to you, and just it's really interesting about what you've been building and making. So I want to thank you for that. I don't have a lot of questions. I just have like a few basic questions I want to ask before we start. So can you tell me a bit more about yourself? Like, what could you start and more about it? Like, a quick 2 minute intro about the people that don't know who you are.
Well, yeah. Okay. Well, it's usually I take longer than 2 minutes, so thanks for that. Like, kind of nice to have a limit here because there's so much to say, right? I'm a writer. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a software engineer. At some point, I just was a software engineer, and then I learned how to build businesses, or I was just kind of thrown into it because a couple friends started their businesses, and I fell into the startup world, and then I built businesses for all of a sudden. And then I actually had a successful one. You already mentioned it, Feedback Panda. I co-founded that with my girlfriend Danielle. She was an English online teacher, and I was a software engineer. And she had a problem, and I solved it. And together we built a business out of that, and we sold that business in 2019. And ever since then, I've been a writer. So there's just so much going on because like you start with one thing, you add another thing, and then add a third thing, and at the intersection of it all, where they all come together, there's something really new. And that's been for me writing about building a SaaS as an entrepreneur and a technical person at the same time. It's kind of what I spend most of my time doing now. I write on my blog, I write books, I have a podcast where I just try to help founders or people who want to build a business to understand the complexity and the how to best do it in a way that involves the people that you're actually serving. Because there is a lot of business advice out there on how to do like step one, step two, step three, and all of that is still kind of locked into people's own minds, right? They don't really involve too many outside people, the actual audience or community that they want to be serving. And that's kind of where I put a lot of focus in my work on. It's just involving as many people as possible. And that's usually with building in public, writing in public, sharing everything I learn. So that's what I am, and that's where I am, and that's what I'm doing.
I think that is a perfect intro. You perfected it in 2 minutes. I think it was less than 2 minutes. Anyways, though, I think really what you've built is really interesting, especially where you had a problem, which was with your girlfriend, the English teacher part, and we made Feedback Panda, and in selling it, I think you really building that help a lot of people, especially with your books. I just wanted to mention, I was searching you really quickly just to add something, and Google thinks you're a musical artist. If you search your name, it shows Arvid Kahl, musical artist. It's just
Nice.
that's so funny. But
Oh,
other
that's
than that,
hilarious.
I think it's just that I guess Google has it wrong. But
Yeah,
I
yes.
really love what you're building. Damn it. I know I said this again, but I'm gonna say one last time. I love what you're building, and I think that was the
Thank
perfect
you.
intro. So I'm gonna move on to like the second question,
Sure.
and it's basically about Feedback Panda. What exactly was started Feedback Panda, and then the idea? I know you sorry. What actually started Feedback Panda was the idea of it. I know you said this in the intro, but I want to go more in depth about Feedback Panda and just everything about and how you eventually sold it.
Sure. Well, the yeah, how can I start the story? The thing is, we noticed that Danielle had a problem while she was teaching. Right, she was spending a lot of time on the computer teaching kids, and that's fun. Like she was teaching Chinese children how to speak English over the internet, and there was a lot of days where she would teach for like 10 hours, like 20 lessons. They were usually half an hour lesson each, and between those lessons she needed to give feedback for the parents of the child to understand like what the kid learned and how they can improve, what school online school really is about, because you can actually give individual feedback. And the Chinese online education companies, they really valued that, because that's what they sold essentially to the parents. Like, know what your kid is learning, know how to help them, know how to make them improve in the most optimal way. And Danielle had a lot of fun teaching, but she hated the part in between. She hated giving this feedback because that was something that was not interactive. You had to write, you had to come up with stuff. It wasn't just teaching where you would be engaged with somebody. It was something really boring. It was administrative bureaucracy, right? That's what it was. And we noticed that everybody else who had the same job as her, who was teaching for this particular school, had the exact same problem. And usually when you see a common problem that is super annoying, that rings a little bell, because in all my entrepreneurial things that I did before, like trying to build businesses before Feedback Panda, I learned at least that if you don't go for a common critically felt problem, you never know if you're going to make money on this, because you can have a great idea and nobody wants to buy it. So you can build something and nobody would pay any money for this. And usually that's the case when the problem is neither critical nor commonly felt, right? I don't know, when people have a 1 in 100 problems is maybe critical. The other ones are interesting too, but the critical one is the one that people have money for. And that's what we noticed very early before we even started building the business or the product. We looked into the community that Danielle was in. It was a Facebook group with tens of thousands of teachers, or I guess at that point must have been 5,000 to 7,000. That's the number in the beginning, but it grew significantly later. And we saw that everybody was complaining about feedback, and everybody was trying to build a solution themselves, using Excel or spreadsheets or whatnot, just to have some kind of, okay, this was what I did with the student. This is how I can phrase it for the parent, and copy and paste and put that into the box where they needed to submit it to the school. And we saw, wait, this is obviously a commonly felt problem. Like every single teacher of this school, and there was thousands of teachers, had this problem, and it occurred 10 to 20 times a day. Like it couldn't have been better. So we figured out, okay, everybody has the problem. Let's now envision a solution. And instead of going and just building anything we thought we might be able to use, we looked at what people were already using. And they were using, like I said, spreadsheets where they had little text templates, and they had a template with male pronouns where it had like, he did great today. And they had one with female pronouns, she did great today, because depending on if you were teaching a boy or a girl, you would just use either of those. And that kind of translated into how we build our product too. So you would have a feedback template that was for male students, and you would have an automatically generated feedback template for female students, or vice versa. Which one you wrote first, we would automatically translate it, or transliterate, I guess, into the other gender. So that is already something that saves you a lot of time, because you only need to write it once, and we make the duplicate with the correct pronouns. And then from that, we built the product around it, where you could just select, okay, I taught this lesson to this student has this name, take the name. It would automatically be substituted into the template, and then the template would be copy and pasteable within seconds. Before, it took 10 minutes. Now it takes like 2 seconds. And that was the time saving that we had there. And that's what we sold. And we didn't sell it like through ads or anything. We actually gave this to the community of teachers that was already there. And we told them, hey, maybe you would like this. We built this with teachers in mind. We built this as teachers ourselves, right? Danielle was a teacher, and she built this for the other teachers. And that resonated so well with the community, so well that we didn't need to do any marketing beyond just engaging with people where they already were, because we were part of the community. We listened to the community. We built something that they already kind of wanted and showed that they needed. And then it just kind of grew from there. We started in 2017, must have been June or July. And within a couple months, maybe like 8-9 months, we were at $10,000 MRR. And that's when we decided to stop our jobs, like kind of quit our jobs that we had at the time. I was a software engineer working for a company in Germany, and Danielle was an online teacher. We both stopped what we were doing and went full-time on Feedback Panda, grew it into $55,000 within 2 years, and then we sold to Sureswift Capital, which is a private equity company who buy products like Feedback Panda to like have a big portfolio of SaaS companies. And that's kind of, that's the story of Feedback Panda in a nutshell.
Okay, I really love my computer there. That's one interesting story, because you found a problem that a lot of people had, like you mentioned, like all the teachers there in other schools, and that you find a common problem. You build. I think a lot of people do, like they build products under common like problems and ideas, and eventually, some simple solution for yourself can actually grow to a product. I see it a lot. I saw that with the one, the min that Fook made, the Notion tweet. I know it's not called that anymore, but you know what I mean. And then you really see a lot of products that people make solutions for themselves, and
Yeah.
they actually skill it because they find a lot of people want it. I think that's really the best part about building SaaS, about building your idea, that you build something that you really need for yourself, and then eventually you find out that a lot of people actually want it. So my
Mhm.
next question is really to go a little bit more with Feedback Panda. It's about selling the product. I want to know more about like what was the process of selling it, and like what thought did you get to founders who want to like sell their product? If they have like a product that's already doing really well, but they want to sell it, or they don't want to keep on working on it anymore.
Yeah. Well, we focused a lot on community. Like I said, that was our the community we were in was also the audience for our product. That was a exact match, right? We were in those Facebook groups. We were on other forums where those teachers would hang out. We were on Twitter. Not so many teachers there. A lot of them were on Instagram, and we were really nestled deeply in the community. And we sold it not directly, but by having people recommend it, because we knew that a product like ours. It's going to be really helpful for teachers, but the teachers that we were selling it to, they didn't have a lot of money. Like usually teachers don't get paid much no matter where they are. Like even if you like teach at a university, unless you're a tenured professor or something, like the highest of the highest, you don't see much money. Like teachers are super underpaid at any level. And the teachers that we were serving with our product, not only were they already underpaid if they were teachers in a school, like a regular school, they had to do this online English teaching as their second or sometimes third job to make enough money to survive. Like that was significant. And for people who have to do three jobs to even survive, you can't sell them much, like they already are spending all the money they have to just even maintain their life. So we needed to make sure that our product was priced adequately. So it was initially we priced it at $5 a month and $10 a month as our initial two plans. One was limited, the other one was unlimited. We quickly scrapped the $5 a month plan because that was not worth it for us. And then we had $10 a month as a regular plan. A year into the business, we increased that to $15 a month because we had added more features to the product, and it became more stable and more useful, to be honest, because our teachers started sharing their feedback templates. So it had a little network effect built in. And at that point, that's why I'm saying this, we introduced a referral system that teachers could refer other teachers to the product, and everybody would win. The teacher who referred would get like a free month every three teachers they would get into the product, and the person they would bring in would get a discounted plan for a while. So it was great for them, great for the new people, and great for us because obviously we would get more people. And that's what we tried to make the center of our sales efforts, was people recommending the product. We went as far as going like community first in all of our marketing. Quite literally, we had a newsletter that we put out every week, and instead of talking about our product, we talked about our teachers. We talked about our customers. We sent them an email, like random people in our community, and we said, hey, we want to feature you in our newsletter. Can you send us a picture and tell us a story about how you started teaching? Because we wanted to foster community. So the more community, the more recommendation, the more recommendation, the more sales. That was the logic of our product. And that only works, to be honest, in a community where people are willing to share. It's very important because there are communities out there that are like cutthroat, that don't help each other much, right? If you consider like recruiters or something, like people who are trying to outmaneuver the other people in their field, they're probably not going to help each other by recommending the best product. They might keep that secret. Or like, I know, financial traders or something, like people who try to compete a lot. That was not the case for our community. Teachers love sharing. They love helping each other and the children they teach, or the people they teach. So they were very receptive to a referral model. And our product itself was also very shareable. That's also important. Some people have a product that is just not shareable, and goes in the same vein. Like if you have a product that gives your customers an edge over other people in the field, they're not going to share it. Like they're not going to tell the people in their community, hey, if you want to make if you want to infringe on the money that I make, here's the product. Nobody does that. So you need to make sure they have a shareable product and an audience that actually is willing to share things in there. But that worked for us. And that's what all the sales in Feedback Panda kind of happened through. We didn't do any paid marketing. Like I said, we did a little bit of influencer marketing, had people talk about our product, but honestly, most people did that for free. On YouTube, you can still find Feedback Panda videos where people just do a product walkthrough that we never asked for. just random people out there. They liked the product. They made a little video, like a how to use Feedback Panda for your classroom, and they put it on YouTube. And then we found it and we put it in the newsletter. It was wonderful. And it was really because we always made absolutely sure that people understood that we were people in Feedback Panda, that Danielle was a teacher, and that I was somebody who really loved helping people. Right? We were not a corporation. We were not a business. We were two people helping everybody else. And that really resonated with people because it's so much easier to share like somebody else's project, like somebody else's, like an actual person's project, than a random and faceless corporation, right? It's so much easier. And that's what we built our business on. It's like recommendability and people sharing it. And that's where sales came from.
I think it's really interesting. I just searched Feedback Panda, and I still there's so many videos out there from a lot of different people, and it's really interesting because I think that's I'm sorry, but I see like there's so many interesting videos. So that you're exactly right. There's lots of them. I think the most recent one I can find is from like 9 months ago. So that's that. But I think really what you said, I think what really makes sense is that you don't really need marketing. You found a common problem that a lot of people had, and you just built on that. You found communities for that, and just referral program. And I think that's looking at a lot of people, especially in people. I think the main problem people have with building SaaS product is monetizing them. Like, so anyone can build a product. No, well, not anyone, but of course, there's a lot of work. But the problem with that is that after figuring out a good way to monetize it,
That's
how to
right.
convince someone to buy your product and what gain would they have? What's stopping them from using a free tool or ads for the version of it? So I think that's
Mm-hmm.
the problem. So I think your answer is gonna help a lot with like that idea. But like, it's just simple like a mini question. What do you feel like is a common mistake people make while they're trying to like sell their products or like start making their product paid?
Right. Well, the biggest mistake that I see people making is building a product that is unsellable because nobody out there has a budget for it. Nobody out there has a problem that is so critical that they actually have money put aside or would put money aside to pay for a solution to their problem. That's the thing, right? If you go product first, if you come up with your idea and you build your idea and then you look for a market to stuff it into, there's a chance, and there's always a chance, that that market does not exist. And even if that market exists, it may not be big enough to sustain a business. And so many people go that way. Like they come up with an idea and they build it and then they try to figure out how they can sell it, which is the product first or the idea first approach. And you see this on Product Hunt every single day. Like there's always like the top 5 products that have a community, that have a lot of engagement, that have like people supporting them. And then you go to show more and there's like 60 products that nobody supports. They're not bad products. They're actually usually really cool products. It's just that there is no audience around this. There is no engaged market that wants or needs that product. And you will that's Product Hunt is great. You can go to every single day and you will see the top products. They're not necessarily the best products. They're just the products that really met a need in the market, where people really want to do what the product allows them to do. And I think that understanding that building a business is not building a product. A business is a reliable way to sell a product repeatedly. That's what a business is. So the product is only half, not even half of that. The reliable way to sell it is the other half. And you cannot have a reliable way to sell anything if there's not people out there who would pay for that thing. So my idea, and that's why I wrote the books that I wrote, right? Zero to Sold as a story of Feedback Panda, and then the Embedded Entrepreneur in particular, to give people this kind of perspective. Why don't you just start with the people? Why don't you go to where people are already talking about whatever challenge they have, and you sit there and you shut up and you listen? And that is how you understand, okay, they're always talking about student feedback. That's kind of why I say this, because for Feedback Panda, we did exactly that. We went into the community. We knew that they had problems, but we listened to which problems they commonly expressed complaints about. right? We went in there and looked at Facebook. Every single day, there was like 10 people complaining about feedback. There was 2 people every day complaining about scheduling, because it's kind of hard for an online teacher, to schedule. Kid is in China, I'm in Minnesota, and I teach for 2 schools, and that school has like kids in another part of Asia. There's a lot of like calendar stuff, but there was only 2 people or less every day, but there was 10 or more talking about feedback. And that is what you see if you are involved in a community. If you just think, I'm going to build the best scheduling tool out there, well, maybe you would build a good product. But then you would figure out, okay, there's only 2 people every day talking about this. That means that every month I might get 50 new trials, and with a 10% conversion rate, that's 5 new people. It would take me 4 years to even build a sustainable business out of that, right? You have to understand what the most commonly expressed complaints and like asks for help and asks for recommendation are in your community, and then solve those, because that's where the money is. That's where people are willing to pay you for any solution, even if it's a bad one, right? So many founders, particularly if they're technical, like I'm a software engineer. We want to build the best product out there because we have technical skills, and we want to build we want to show to people that we can be really, really good at what we're doing. But we don't need to be. We only need to help people just a little bit to warrant them paying us money. And that's what I want people to see. Don't build first. Go in a community, listen to them, and take notes. Take notes how often they talk about their problems, and make a list. And that's why I wrote the book, because it's a step-by-step to how to do it. But that's really easy. Just embed yourself in a community, listen, observe, and take notes. And in the end, after a couple weeks, a couple months, you will see which problems are critical. You will see which problems are common, and then you act on solving those problems with the people in the community. And you build an audience around yourself as you're building. You're building in public, preferably, and then you have already your initial customer base right there in your community.
I definitely agree with that. I've seen product in a lot of times, and I see a lot of products that something that don't really make sense. Like most of them are really good. Like I'm gonna go to Freaking right now, and probably just gonna straight. But I probably to give a better example right now. But I seen so many products. They're good. They're not bad products, right?
Yeah.
But there's not really a space for them, space for them. Like what a lot of people do is that they try to. I think a lot of people do is this, and this is me really annoys them. But what I do is that they find a part that does really well. Let's say Copy Eye, for example,
Yeah.
by Chris. I talked to them. That's for another episode. But and then they try to put their own mix on it, and
Yeah.
then they try to imitate it, and then they publish it right away. And then there's not a need for it because there's so many GP3 copywriting apps out there. How is yours different? I think I'm gonna add on to my opinion. I think another mistake people make is that when they build product, so even if they did the good attention, they're not going to copy, but the product doesn't have something that makes a buyer or a customer go, oh wow, this is going to help me a lot. What a lot of people do is that they build the simplest product and then they just sell it. That doesn't work all the time because really the problem with that is that you don't really have a middle point that convinces people that, you know what, my product is better than all the thousand other products that you should buy mine. I think that's another
Yeah.
mistake some people make.
Yeah, they're also trying to really to help everybody at the same time. Right?
That's
That's a big problem.
done that. It didn't work. I think that our first hand experience. I think like when you try to help a lot of people at the same time. Like let's say you build a product that like makes it easier to scale interviews,
Yeah.
and then you target a product for everyone like podcasters, content creators, influencers, indie hackers, founders, English teacher, then that's not gonna work because then you're spending too much time focusing on too many people,
Yeah.
and then you can't figure out what I should actually really do. Should I actually like go this side or like go that side? Should I focus on this trend? Like what am I supposed to do? That's the main problem. I'm
Yeah.
sorry for like rambling about it, but I see that a lot. And it just annoys me sometimes. I'm sorry you have to while building Feedback Panda. So that's that. But I have a few more questions left, and is that really you follow a lot of people on Twitter. Because
Yeah.
right now, if you go to your follow list, you follow over around 10.5k people. How do you
That's right.
like pick people? Because I remember, how do you follow people? Like, is there a bot that does it? Like, what are the process of picking people and how you
Yeah.
follow them? Because I
Honestly,
remember. Sorry, continue. Yes,
no,
continue.
I do that manually. Like whenever I see somebody who's interesting, like even just a tiny bit interesting, I just give them the benefit of the doubt and I follow them because
That to me,
I there's no
2019.
automation.
I wasn't even creating anything then. Sorry, continue. I didn't mean to
No,
here.
I don't think so. Like you were already engaging with the community at that point. I do remember when I followed you because that was interesting to me because you were already kind of trying to figure out how to talk to people, engage with their content, and that is enough for me. Like honest, if I see somebody who's enthusiastic, you don't have to be an expert to be followed by me, I guess, because I want to see people of all stages do all kinds of things. Like, I don't care about your age, your gender, where you're from, what you're doing, what your experience is, if you have any at all, or if you know what. To me, I want to have a representation of the world out there in my Twitter feed. And if I follow all the same guys at all the same stage, what is that really more than a bubble, right? Because I don't want to be in a bubble. I want to see as much as I can. So I follow people very liberally, and I trust the Twitter algorithm to surface the interesting things to me over time. So
I
I
think
don't follow
I
much.
think I think you did a good job for that because I'm never interfering you. My bad. No, I'll let you finish. It's okay.
No, it's fine. I don't unfollow much. Only if people act like idiots. That's really the only time when I unfollow. When people are unfriendly, unkind to each other, that's why I ban them or like I just unfollow because I don't need that in my feed.
Yeah, that makes sense. But I wanted to ask because I've always noticed that, and I've seen it so many times. So I think that's a lot of because a lot of people have. I'm really out of questions because you actually answer like I had like three extra questions, but you answered them in the second question I asked you. So that is actually a good thing because that actually makes it easier for people to listen to. So we can have I just want to ask a few tiny questions like. To finish off, like what's on your watch list? Like people who are building interesting things, or like people that don't have, or like rising creators who don't have enough like attention. Like what's on your watch list? Your SaaS watch list.
I can't really name individual things. Like I don't really look at the businesses they build. I look at the founders themselves, right? I because that's one of the things that I have been thinking a lot about. This kind of there's two brands that you build as a founder. One is for the business, like you build. I don't know. I built Feedback Panda. That's half of my brand, but the other brand is me as a founder, as an entrepreneur, as a person that is engaged with the community. And that it's a great example too because Feedback Panda is now not mine anymore. It's somebody else's, but I still benefit from having had it as part of my brand. Right. So my personal founder brand, that's the thing that I have for myself, my reputation in the community, that's something that will never leave me. That's always gonna be mine. But the businesses I built, either Feedback Panda that I sold or now Permanent Link, which is another little SaaS that I built on the side for my own needs. And then I figured out, okay, apparently writers out there need links in ebooks. All right, might just sell it to them. Now that's the other professional brand. And like my books and my blog, this is also a professional brand, but me as a person, that is the brand that I really focus on at this moment. And that's kind of what I wanted to say about this divergence. There's two brands you're building, and both of them are important, but only one of them will live with you through whatever businesses you build.
I think that's a good answer, like a better answer. I should have phrased it properly, but I'm actually out of questions because I actually really love the answer you gave, and there's no point of asking, more questions to make the time go more. So, um, I just want to say one more time, thank you for actually joining me on the show today. It was really awesome. People don't know, but I've been trying to get this interview for almost around. I think it's been 3 months. Correct me if I'm
Yeah,
incorrect.
probably even more.
Probably more than that. Yeah, but actually, it's really awesome to talk with you because I think reading a book really helped me like build make the rocket in the first place because I actually never really took it seriously before I read your book. So that's what I want to thank you for. But I think really what you said here in this episode today is going to help a lot of people, and that how that a lot of people is going to make an eye opening to a lot of people, especially the question where I asked you about what mistakes people make often. So
Mhm.
I would just to thank you one more time, and if you have anything you want to say before we finish, now's your chance.
Well, I want to thank you for doing this. I want to thank you for taking your time, which is precious too, and just talking to people, trying to bring more attention to these things and sharing that. I love the fact that you're so open and sharing all of these things with people in our community. So thank you for doing this. And I don't want to plug anything. I just want to plug you because I think people should follow you and give you more exposure as well. So thank you for everything you do. And I hope you keep doing it. And I hope you keep doing it for a long, long time because I think you're pretty young. So you have a lot of time in your life to just keep
Yeah.
involving yourself with the community. And I'm really grateful that you're already doing this. So again, thanks for that.
Thank you. I actually, the reason I think I'm gonna talk myself for a second because you let me do this. No, the reason I actually make this rocket is I get a chance to talk to a creator. Like I originally made it for something else, but that didn't work out. But I soon realized that there's a lot of stories out there, right? I've talked to so many people, and a lot of people just say that I don't have a story. Well, and I find out and talk to them that no, you have an interesting
Yeah.
story. Why did you
Yeah.
lie about
Absolutely.
that, right? I think, but like the thing is that people have stories to tell, like ideas to share, like knowledge to share. And
Yeah.
if it wasn't for them to share their knowledge to others, I or other people couldn't make the same mistakes. So what I want to do with this podcast and make it rocket as a whole is just so that everyone make mistakes and then here's how to fix them. If you want to learn something, just learn it from someone that's experienced about it, or someone that's just right or that has some experience in it. Because I think the best way to learn is from others and others. Like I don't think I'll be able to make this podcast if I never actually heard of you. I don't think if I found out other people. So I'm sorry for rambling, but that's literally all I have. So once again, thank you for being in the episode. It really means a lot to me.
Absolutely. Thanks. And yeah, we are all kind of sitting in all these little boats and it needs all of us to rise all the boats at the same time, right? So everybody can contribute to this. Because we are
That's
only
right.
as good as we are helpful to each other. So yeah, thanks for being so kind. Thanks for doing what you're doing and can't wait to listen to more episodes of your show.
Thank you.